I saw an article at some point that called this movie the Cruel Jaws of kaiju movies, and I can't think of a more apt way to describe War of the God Monsters. Basically what you get when you cross a melodramatic Korean drama with a giant monster movie, but if all the giant monsters were just straight up plagiarized. Originally released back in 1985, this movie was presumed to be lost for the longest time until SRS was able to get it restored and released. And I'm genuinely curious how they managed to pull that off, considering almost all of the monster footage in this movie is ripped right out of Ultraman episodes, and we all know how anal Subaraya is about their copyright. It also wasn't even originally called War of the God Monsters, that was just the American release that SRS gave it. It was released in Korea under the name The Flying Monster, which is kind of hilarious since there's only really one flying kaiju in this whole thing and it's barely in the movie to begin with. Anyway, God Monsters tells the story of a reporter who heads into the mountains to find a mad scientist who is warning the world of an imminent disaster at the hands of prehistoric monsters. But before that, we get a glorious scene where two people are swimming on a beach before getting attacked by stock footage that doesn't even match what they shot for the actual movie. And you'd think that if you were out in the ocean and the water suddenly started to churn and bubble and a loud as balls beeping noise that sounds like some sort of underwater submarine was coming near you, you'd get your ass out of there. Because let's be honest, I don't even like when seaweed touches me. Guess they got distracted by the hornies so bad they didn't notice. Damn, that must have been some good ass booty. Anyway, back to the reporter chick. After an exciting journey on a bus where she literally sits on a dude's face, man, we love when dinner is provided with travel. She befriends the daughter of the crazy dino scientist, because it wouldn't be an 80s kaiju movie without some kind of Kenny in the mix. Okay, admittedly, she's not as annoying as the Gamera Kennys, but at this point, I'm just conditioned to put my defenses up whenever I see a little kid in a kaiju movie, because like, god damn. The scientist, Dr. Kim, believes that dinosaurs are coming out of the Arctic ice due to climate change, and he illustrates this point by showing frozen goldfish in a cup coming back to life after the ice melts. But I'm pretty sure they just stuck some goldfish in a cup and then froze them to death, and then switched them out with living ones once the ice melted, because yeah, I don't think the animal standards were very high on an 80s Korean movie. Eventually, the kaiju do start to show up. The first one that shows up is a stupid-ass looking bird turkey thing, which is just stock footage of, I don't know, Pterochilus, I think is what it's called. It's just ripped right out of Return of Ultraman. And the only original shot that they have in here, as far as I can tell, is this, like, just beautiful shot where it's just like a close-up of someone wearing gumboots. They didn't even put talons on the fucking thing. It's just somebody wearing gumboots. Then more stock footage from Return of Ultraman starts showing up. You got Bemstar, Seagrath, Siemens, which is just the most unfortunate name. From Ultraman Ace, they took footage of Veracron, which is one of my favorite scenes from God Monsters, because this thing is just like laying waste to the city. Destruction, death, families torn apart, countless billions in damage, and this little girl is just like P-Star, which, I don't know, is either pronounced P-Star or Pestar, whatever, is ripped right out of the original Ultraman, but given one of the dumbest, derpiest roars I think I've ever heard come out of a kaiju before. Goddamn thing sounds like a whale being kicked in the nuts.
Relax. I just want to take some pictures.
And if you're thinking, wow, I can't believe they managed to take this footage from the 60s and 70s and weaved it seamlessly into a movie from 1985, they didn't. It looks like dog shit. The color grading very rarely matches up, and the editing is a complete mess. But it does lead to hilarious edits like this one.
알이 있다?
뭐라고?
정말이야.
And for a movie with some of the dumbest fuck goof looking monster suits I've ever seen, they just throw in some genuinely dark moments that don't feel out of place or anything. They totally feel at home here. Like one where a woman realizes after they ran away from their town and the monsters have already just shock and awed their town, that she accidentally grabbed a pillow instead of her baby.
되게? 아니 이런 아니 빈대야 아니 이거 뭐야 아니 가지고 어떡해 이런 빈대
And the Mom of the Year award goes to, you know, my mom bailed on me at a Blockbuster once because I took an hour to pick a game to rent, and I thought that was terrible. But come on, how did you screw up that bad? You know, that basically sums up War of the God Monsters, or Flying Monster, or whatever the hell you want to call it. To be fair, it's entertaining. It's hard not to be, considering all the clips they snatched from Tsuburaya are some of the more entertaining kaiju scenes from the Ultraman series. And really, unless you've actually seen all of Ultraman or Return of Ultraman or Ultraman Ace or like the other shows that this movie steals footage from, you've likely never seen these monsters anyway. Think of this as a best of compilation that was totally unauthorized and somehow didn't result in any lawsuits. Man, the 80s were just built different.